Have you ever felt like modern dating has turned into a game you never agreed to play? Endless swiping, emotional detachment, people treating each other like options instead of humans. If you're burnt out, frustrated, or just quietly wondering if real love still exists, you're not alone. But here's a surprising truth. Many women say they've actually found it. Not in Paris, not in LA, but in Colombia. Welcome to Mindful World Entertainment, the place where we dive into the emotional heartbeat of relationships around the globe. We unpack how love looks, feels, and evolves in different cultures. If you're into deep emotional stories, surprising insights, and a global take on dating, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Today's episode is about a country where women say men still know how to love. This is Colombia, and what you're about to discover might just restore your hope in romance. Let's be honest, dating in many modern cities feels like a battlefield. Whether you're in New York, Toronto, London, or Sydney, chances are you've experienced the cold swipe culture. People cancel last minute, text, but never follow through, talk about vibes, but avoid commitment like it's a trap. One woman from Chicago put it perfectly. Dating here feels like a job interview with no callback. In fact, studies show that nearly 70% of women in Western countries report emotional dissatisfaction with their dating lives. Many say they feel ghosted, breadcrumbed, or emotionally neglected. That's not just disheartening, it's dehumanizing. But in Colombia, women describe something very different. So what's going on in Colombia? Women, both locals and visitors, describe dating in Colombia as emotionally refreshing. The word that keeps coming up is warmth. Not just physical affection, but emotional warmth. From the very first date, you might hear endearing words like mi amor, preciosa, or reina. At first, many Western women assume it's too good to be true. But over time, they realize it's sincere. A French tourist in Medellin said, "I thought I was being love-bombed." But weeks later, the affection never stopped. He sent me voice notes just to say he missed me. I wasn't used to that kind of care. And these aren't just isolated cases. In expat communities across Colombia, women regularly share stories about how emotionally expressive and committed Colombian men are, sometimes even from the very beginning. To understand this emotional openness, you need to understand Colombian culture. Colombia is built on a foundation of familismo, the cultural belief that family, loyalty, and close relationships are paramount. From an early age, children are raised to be affectionate, expressive, and emotionally close to their parents, siblings, and extended family. This cultural script doesn't disappear in adulthood, it deepens. It shapes how men relate to their romantic partners. Here's a fun fact. In Colombia, it's not uncommon for adult sons to kiss their mothers on the cheek daily and speak to them several times a week. This constant emotional exchange sets a precedent for deeper, more frequent expressions of love. So when a Colombian man enters a relationship, he's likely to bring that same intensity and intentionality into romance. While Western dating often emphasizes grand gestures, Valentine's dinners, Instagrammable dates, Colombian men often win hearts through consistency and the little things. A typical day might include a sweet morning text, a shared lunch break, or a goodnight voice note filled with warmth. One woman from Australia living in Bogota said, "He brings me hot chocolate when it rains. No occasion. Just because he knows I love it." This isn't about being clingy, it's about being present. Colombian men are often tuned into the emotional rhythms of their partner's day. They check in, they follow up, they care. And yes, flowers are still a thing. Random bouquets, handwritten notes, impromptu serenades under apartment balconies. Romance in Colombia feels like it's still alive, not as a performance, but as a way of life. Colombian men are often confident, passionate, and incredibly flirtatious, but not in a sleazy way. It's more of an art form, a cultural dance of sorts. And let's not ignore the obvious. Colombian men are often very physically expressive, holding hands, stroking your hair in public, kissing on the street. Absolutely normal. Affection isn't hidden, it's proudly displayed. This can be overwhelming at first for someone used to more reserved cultures, but for many women, it quickly becomes a source of emotional security. "I used to feel like I had to play it cool all the time," said a woman from Dublin. "But here, It's okay to be excited. It's okay to show you care. Of course, every culture has its complexities, and Colombia is no exception. Some women have reported issues with jealousy, machismo, or traditional gender roles. For example, a Colombian man may insist on paying for everything, or expect his partner to take on more traditional domestic roles. That's not always a problem, but it can be if expectations aren't discussed early. Jealousy can also show up as protectiveness, sometimes verging on possessiveness. But again, it comes from a place of emotional investment, not control. Still, boundaries matter. Let's also be real. Not every Colombian man is a dreamboat. There are still players, ghosters, and emotionally immature guys. But the cultural context here allows for emotional investment, which already sets the stage for deeper connection. So why do so many women say dating in Colombia changes them? Because it challenges a story we've come to believe, that men are emotionally unavailable by default, that vulnerability is rare, that romance is dying. Colombian culture flips that script. For many women, dating here isn't just about finding a boyfriend. It's about remembering what it feels like to be adored, to be prioritized, to be emotionally seen. One expat described it like this: Colombia didn't just give me a relationship, it gave me my softness back. And in a world that often asks women to be hardened, guarded, or emotionally self-reliant, that softness can feel like a revolution. Let's take a moment to appreciate some lesser-known but beautiful facts about Colombian dating culture. Dia del Amor y la Amistad, Love and Friendship Day, is celebrated in September, not February, and it involves secret gift exchanges, romantic notes, and heartfelt surprises. Dancing is everything. Salsa and bachata are cultural staples, and dancing closely with your partner isn't just physical, it's deeply emotional. Family introductions happen early. It's not uncommon to meet your date's mom within the first few weeks and be greeted with warmth, hugs, and food. All of these things add up to one truth: dating in Colombia is intimate, in a way that goes beyond physicality. Even if you never plan to date a Colombian man, or even visit Colombia, there are lessons here for all of us. Affection isn't weakness. Consistency is powerful. Emotional presence matters more than perfection. If you've been hurt, ghosted, or made to feel like your feelings were too much, Colombia shows you that there are places and people where emotional depth is still valued. If you've ever wondered whether real romance is still possible, Colombia might just be your answer. Let us know in the comments. Have you ever experienced love across cultures? Or are you curious to? We'd love to hear your story. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks for watching Mindful World Entertainment. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and stay connected.